Hi guys, so it sounds like I'm gonna have to be out of school for a little bit, so I am gonna go ahead and instruct you in part 2 of your sketchbook. So you need to go get your sketchbook from the drying rack, or for some of you, like periods 3 and period 1, actually. I have some of them stacked on the countertop, and for period 3, it's stacked at station 7. So if you don't find it on the drying rack, I mean, you might want to check first to see if you have your sketchbook pages stacked over on the countertops that I just mentioned. Also, go ahead and remove the binding clips and set those to the side, because you'll want to return those at the end of the class. For my intro classes, there's a bin that's marked binding clips. It's a blue bin over on the countertop. And for my digital design classes, there's you'll see the binding clips in the back. There's also a bin in the back of the room. For my digital design classes, just make sure to use that counterclockwise movement throughout the room so that you try to social distance. And you will need to help with wiping down your stations at the end of the class period. All right, so to get started, you need to get a cover paper. The cover papers are in the back of the room, and there's colored options. There's also white options. Now I'm working, this is for intro, so this is the intro size, but digital design, you know that your size, and Viscom, your book sizes are gonna be much smaller, so your papers are gonna be smaller. So for intro, you're gonna find your cover papers, marked or labeled over on the countertop. For digital design, it'll be in the back of the room. And I believe the sub is going to dismiss you by rows to go get your cover paper, but if not, go ahead and just raise your hand and say, can I get up and get a cover paper? And it'll all work out. So you are going to place your book, place your cover paper on the table, and you can also review your guide for these steps. But you're going to place your book with the glue binding in the very center of that cover paper. So my open pages are over here, and the glue binding is on the far left, right in the center. And then I'm going to go ahead and start out. It says, place the pages on the cover, the large cover paper, so that the glued binding is in the center. Drizzle a scribble of all these words, scribble of glue on the top page and smear out with your finger. So this is kind of important, because if you just put glue on your cover, this glue bottle, who knows if it's gonna work, there we go. And mine is clear. I mean, I'm at home, so yours is obviously gonna be white glue. You wanna kind of go all the way out to the edges. I mean, you wanna be liberal with the glue, but not ridiculous, because you are gonna smear this around. And that's important, because otherwise you'll end up with bumps all over your sketchbook. It'll have a lot of ridges. You may get that anyway, just because of the thickness of the paper. It's not as thick or nice as we would like for it to be, but for intro level, I think we'll be all right. You wanna push that glue all the way out to the edge of the book so that the cover sticks completely all the way out. There we go. So I got all the way to the edges. Let's see. These instructions are written for you. It says, pull the cover over the top so that when you press it down, the sketchbook is in the center of the cover. Ends should be nearly aligned, and push book in. So that's kind of tricky, but I'll just go ahead and show you what that looks like. So I want to push this back end of this cover paper over the top and then smash down, and I'm gonna wipe forward with the cover. I just really need to make sure that it extends past the book. I mean, it turns out that I didn't do a great job of centering it here, but really just as long as it comes past the book, I'm good, like this, okay? And then I'm pressing down to make sure that it's glued all the way on all parts of the book. And you'll see it's a little wavy, that's what I've got. So it says, and you should have a paper towel as well, just to kind of wipe off your fingers as you're using your fingers to spread the glue. It says one side is glued, one side is not. Flip the whole book over, but before gluing the other side, so before I glue the back side, it says crease the cover around the sketchbook so you have two 90-degree angles and the binding is flat. So this is for the spine or the binding of your book. And what you want to do is kind of pinch to crease that binding, because that will make the book, first of all, lay better as you glue it on the other side, but also function better so that it lays flat and it doesn't have a big hump on the outside of the spine. Don't worry about adding string if you have that in your instructions. We're not gonna do that because I'm not there. So now what you're gonna do is put more glue on the back side. Go ahead and drizzle a glue and then blend it in with your finger again for the back side of the book. Now, when you bring the paper over the back side, you're gonna wanna pull it a little bit tighter. Again, the goal is to like have this book function well, and the tighter you spread the cover across, like the tighter that cover is, the better that book will function. There we go. Again, I would take it all the way out to the edges of your pages, and I would kind of push up and over and slide forward to the end of the pages. All right, so now you've got your front and back cover for your book, and you're gonna open it all the way up. Oops, nope, take that back. Let me backtrack here. Oh, you can see, like, as it's drying, I've got lots of wrinkles. I wouldn't be super concerned about that, guys, if there's lots of wrinkles there. I mean, is it the prettiest? No, but we're gonna end up covering over it with some collage and things like that. So don't get stressed out about that. So now what I need to do is, I've got my book flipped over. It doesn't really matter what direction it's facing, but you do wanna find that back corner of the book. And it says, on the folded binding edge, draw then cut a skinny rectangle as shown. Do this for both the top and the bottom. So I kind of found with my finger where the bottom of the book is, and I kind of like pressed in, and I'm just gonna draw a tiny rectangle here. You can make it dashed like the guide shows, or you can just do it on your own. And I pinched there again to figure out where that is. And then there's the other one. So I did that for the top and the bottom. Next, it says after the top and bottom rectangle are cut. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this top and bottom rectangle. I'm gonna get as close as I can to the book. So I'm just cutting those out right there. Here and here. And if you have a little piece that's left over, you can just tear it off. And it says, open the first page and cut a slightly obtuse angle, just wider than 90 degrees, right up to the white page corner. Repeat this at each corner. So what that's gonna look like, I just think of it as an extremely wide V almost. I'm gonna do that on all 4 corners. So you want it to be wider than 90 degrees. 90 degrees is like an L, so I want it to be an extra wide V. And my pages, I didn't have it centered very well, so that's why it's kind of wonky looking here. Then you're gonna cut on all of those lines. So I'm cutting those corners on all 4 corners. I'm just gonna do one side, but you'll do all 4. We'll just do one side for the video. There we go. All right, your last step is to take these flaps and fold them over and glue them down. I'm gonna just crease it right there where the page meets the flap. And then I'm gonna end up gluing them down. And you can figure which way you'd like to glue them, like what way looks best. I'll just do a scribble of glue again. Do one more here. And you're gonna do this on both sides of your book so that your cover is glued down. I would do a better job of gluing than what I'm showing you right now. I mean, I would make sure that it's like really adhered, you know, so that it is gonna hold up again for the semester. You're gonna be transporting this in your bag to and from school, should be every day. So it's gonna take some wear and tear. So just make sure you have that like really, you know, glued well. And there is like one cover of my book. Okay, now the last thing to make sure that you do is you want to write your name and your period number. So Mrs. M, and then your period number on the inside cover somewhere. So do your full name and period number, so that way if it gets separated, I can make sure to get it back to you.